What if I told you that almost everything you believe about size is completely wrong? What if the number you've been worried about your entire life, the measurement that's caused you anxiety, insecurity, and sleepless nights, actually doesn't matter the way you think it does? Here's something that might shock you. Multiple scientific studies have asked thousands of women the exact same question. What size do you actually prefer? And the answers might surprise you, confuse you, and possibly even relieve you. But here's the part that nobody talks about. The science reveals something even more important than just a number. It shows us what women truly value in intimate experiences, and it has almost nothing to do with what most men obsess over. So, if you're a man who's ever felt inadequate, who's ever compared himself to what you see in adult films, or who's ever wondered if you measure up, pay very close attention because what I'm about to share is based on real research, real data, and real conversations with thousands of women. And trust me, the truth is very different from what you've been told. Hi, gentlemen. I'm Dr. Rena, a urologist with over a decade of experience working with men and their intimate health concerns. And I need to be honest with you right from the start. This topic makes most doctors uncomfortable. They avoid it. They dismiss it. They tell men, don't worry about it, without actually addressing the real anxiety behind the question. But I'm not most doctors. I believe men deserve honest science-based answers to the questions that keep them up at night. And this question about size and what women actually want is one of the most common concerns I hear in my practice. So today, we're going to look at the actual research. No myths, no locker room talk, no guessing, just cold, hard facts from peer-reviewed studies that surveyed real women about their real preferences. If you want more honest, practical information like this, hit that subscribe button right now because I share this kind of straight talk every single week, and you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next. All right, let's get into it. Before we talk about what women actually want, we need to address the massive lie that's been sold to men for generations. The lie goes like this: bigger is always better. The more inches you have, the more satisfied she'll be. Size equals masculinity, power, and sexual prowess. Where does this lie come from? Everywhere. Adult entertainment industry, locker room conversations, internet forums, even casual jokes in movies and TV shows. But here's the reality: the adult film industry doesn't represent real life. It represents fantasy, exaggeration, and camera tricks designed to create a specific visual effect. The average male performer in that industry is carefully selected to be in the top 1% of size. They're not representative of normal men. And the women in those films, they're acting. It's their job to react in exaggerated ways that look good on camera. But real life, real intimacy, that's completely different, and the science proves it. A landmark study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine in 2015 surveyed over 75 women using 3D models, not photos, not descriptions, actual physical models they could see and hold. The researchers wanted to know exactly what size women preferred. And you know what they found? The results shocked even the researchers themselves. All right, here's where we get into the real numbers, and I want you to pay close attention because this might change everything you thought you knew. The 2015 study I just mentioned asked women to select their preferred size for two different scenarios, one for a single encounter and one for a long-term partner. For a single encounter, women selected an average length of 6.44 inches and a girth of 5 inches. But here's where it gets really interesting. For a long-term partner, the preferred length dropped to 6.3 inches with the same girth of 5 inches. Think about that for a moment. Women actually preferred slightly smaller for long-term relationships. Why? Because comfort, consistency, and compatibility matter more than maximum size when you're with someone regularly. Now, let's compare that to reality. According to a comprehensive study published in the British Journal of Urology International that measured over 15,000 men, the average length is 5.16 inches when fully firm. So, the gap between what women prefer and what the average man has, it's less than 1.2 inches. That's it, just over 1 inch. But wait, there's more. Another study from UCLA and Cal State University surveyed 26,000 women about their satisfaction levels. And here's what they found: 84% of women were completely satisfied with their partner's size. 84%. Meanwhile, only 55% of men were satisfied with their own size. Do you see the disconnect here? The vast majority of women are happy, but men are torturing themselves over something that isn't even a problem. Now, let's talk about why women's preferences aren't what most men assume. And this is where the science gets really fascinating. First, anatomy. The vaginal canal is typically 3 to 4 inches deep when not aroused and stretches to about 4 to 6 inches when aroused. That means anything beyond 6 inches is literally hitting the cervix, which for most women is uncomfortable or even painful, not pleasurable. Think about that. Having more length doesn't make the experience better. In many cases, it actually makes it worse. Second, and this is crucial, the most sensitive area for women isn't deep inside. It's in the first 2 to 3 inches of the vaginal opening. That's where the highest concentration of nerve endings exists. A study in the Journal of Sex Research found that only 18% of women can reach satisfaction from internal stimulation alone. 18%. That means 82% need other forms of stimulation, primarily focused on the external area. So what does this tell us? Length beyond a certain point doesn't increase pleasure. It's the completely wrong thing to focus on. Third, girth matters more than length. Multiple studies consistently show that when forced to choose, women rate girth as more important than length. Why? Because girth provides more sensation and pressure against the vaginal walls, which contain more nerve endings. But even then, we're talking about moderate preferences. We're not talking about extreme sizes. The preferred girth in studies is 5 inches in circumference. That's completely within the normal range for most men. Now, here's where we get to the real truth, the thing that matters far more than any measurement. I've spoken with hundreds of women throughout my career, both in clinical settings and in research contexts. And when you ask them what creates truly satisfying intimate experiences, size rarely makes the top 5. Here's what consistently ranks higher. First, emotional connection. Women want to feel desired, valued, and emotionally connected to their partner. A study in the Archives of Sexual Behavior found that emotional intimacy was the #1 predictor of satisfaction for women, rating higher than any physical characteristic. Second, attention and care. Taking time, being attentive, focusing on her pleasure, not rushing. These qualities matter infinitely more than measurements. Third, technique and skill. Knowing what to do, how to read her responses, how to build anticipation. These are learned skills that have nothing to do with what you were born with. Fourth, confidence. Not arrogance, but genuine self-assurance. Women are attracted to men who are comfortable in their own skin, who don't apologize for their bodies, who approach intimacy with positive energy rather than anxiety. And fifth, communication. Being able to talk openly about desires, preferences, and what feels good. This creates better experiences than any physical attribute ever could. Notice what's not on this list. Size. It's not that it doesn't matter at all, it's that it matters far less than men think and far less than all these other factors. Here's something most men don't realize. Your anxiety about size is actually causing more problems than your actual size ever could. Think about it. When you're worried about whether you're enough, what happens? You get in your head. You become self-conscious. You rush through intimacy because you're anxious. You avoid certain positions or situations because of insecurity. All of that anxiety creates a barrier between you and genuine connection. It prevents you from being present, from enjoying the moment, from focusing on your partner's pleasure. A study from the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that men with size anxiety reported lower satisfaction scores even when they were completely average or above average in actual measurements. The anxiety itself was the problem, not their bodies. Meanwhile, men who were comfortable and confident regardless of their actual size reported higher satisfaction for both themselves and their partners. Do you see the irony here? The thing you're worried about isn't the issue. Your worry about it is the issue. So if size isn't the key to great intimate experiences, what should you focus on? Let me give you practical, actionable strategies that will actually make a difference. First, master the fundamentals. Learn proper technique for oral intimacy. Understand how to use your hands effectively. Study the anatomy and physiology of female pleasure. These skills create far more satisfaction than any measurement ever could. Second, slow down. Most men rush through intimacy like it's a race to the finish line, but women need time. Their arousal works differently than yours. It builds gradually like a wave. Spend more time on foreplay, kiss her slowly, touch her intentionally, build anticipation. By the time you actually move to full intimacy, she should already be highly aroused. That's when satisfaction becomes almost guaranteed, regardless of your measurements. Third, communicate. Ask her what feels good. Pay attention to her responses, her breathing, her movements, her sounds. These are all signals telling you what's working and what isn't. Don't assume you know. Every woman is different. What worked with a previous partner might not work with her. Be curious, be willing to learn, be open to feedback. Fourth, use positions strategically. Certain positions create more sensation and allow for deeper connection. Positions where her legs are closer together create more pressure and friction. Positions that allow you to stimulate her externally while maintaining internal connection give her multiple sources of pleasure simultaneously. Experiment. Try different angles. See what works for both of you. This is where creativity and attentiveness matter far more than size. And fifth, extend the experience. Don't make everything about reaching the finish line. Multiple rounds, taking breaks, building and releasing tension repeatedly. These techniques create more memorable experiences than any single physical attribute. Now, let's talk about something that might be the most important point in this entire video: confidence. Here's a truth that might be hard to hear at first. Whatever size you are is the size you are. You can't change it. No pills, pumps, or exercises will add significant length. That's just reality. But here's the good news. You don't need to change it because the real issue isn't your size. It's your relationship with your size. Women can sense insecurity from a mile away. When you're apologetic about your body, when you try to hide or avoid intimacy because of anxiety, when you make self-deprecating comments, it creates an uncomfortable energy that affects the entire experience. But when you're confident, when you own who you are without apology, when you approach intimacy with positive energy and focus on mutual pleasure rather than your own insecurities, that confidence is magnetic. It's attractive and it makes everything better. Think about it this way. Would you rather be with someone who's constantly worried about how they look or someone who's comfortable and present? The answer is obvious. The same applies to how women feel about men. Your confidence or lack of it matters far more than your measurements. So how do you build that confidence? Start by accepting what is. You are who you are. Your body is your body. And according to the science we've reviewed today, you're probably already exactly what most women prefer anyway. Second, focus on what you can control. Your technique, your attentiveness, your communication skills, your physical fitness, and health. These are all areas where you can improve and grow. Third, stop comparing yourself to unrealistic standards. Adult films, locker room talk, internet bragging. None of it represents reality. Most of it is exaggeration or outright lies. And finally, remember that intimacy is about connection, not performance. It's about two people sharing a vulnerable, pleasurable experience together, not about proving something or living up to some arbitrary standard. Let me bring all of this together with a clear, simple summary based on everything the research tells us. The average preference among women is 6.3 to 6.4 in length and 5 in girth. The average actual size among men is 5.16 inches in length. That gap is small, and most women report being completely satisfied with their partners regardless. Beyond 6 to 7 inches, you're not increasing pleasure. You're potentially creating discomfort. So more is definitely not better past a certain point. Girth matters more than length when physical attributes are concerned. But even girth has diminishing returns past moderate sizes, and most importantly, 82% of women require stimulation beyond just internal penetration to reach satisfaction. That means technique, attention, and skill matter far more than size ever will. The science is clear. The anxiety men feel about size is disproportionate to its actual importance in creating satisfying, intimate experiences. All right, gentlemen, we've covered a lot of ground here. Now, let's talk about what you should actually do with this information. First, if you've been carrying anxiety about your size, I want you to really let that go. Look at the actual numbers. Look at what women actually report. Chances are extremely high that you're already within or very close to the preferred range. And even if you're below average, remember that 84% of women are satisfied with their partner's size. The odds are heavily in your favor that this isn't the problem you think it is. Second, shift your focus. Stop obsessing over what you can't change. Start investing energy into what you can change. Your technique, your communication skills, your ability to be present and attentive. Third, work on your confidence. Accept your body as it is. Own who you are. Approach intimacy with positive energy rather than anxiety and apology. Fourth, educate yourself. Learn about female anatomy and pleasure. Understand that great intimate experiences come from knowledge and skill, not from measurements. And fifth, communicate with your partner. Have honest conversations about what feels good, what doesn't, and how you can create better experiences together. The men who implement these 5 things consistently report dramatic improvements in their intimate lives. Not because their bodies changed, but because their approach changed. Here's the ultimate truth that I want you to walk away with today. You've been lied to by the media, by the adult entertainment industry, by insecure men trying to boost their own egos, by a culture that profits from your insecurity. The real science shows something completely different. It shows that most men are already exactly what most women want. It shows that the things that truly matter have nothing to do with measurements. And it shows that your anxiety about size is causing more problems than your actual size ever could. So today, I'm asking you to make a choice. You can continue carrying that anxiety, letting it affect your confidence and your intimate experiences, or you can let it go, accept the scientific reality, and focus on the things that actually matter. The choice is yours. But I can tell you from years of working with men on these exact issues, the ones who let go of size anxiety and focus on real skills and connection, they report better intimate lives, more satisfying relationships, and higher confidence. That's available to you too, starting right now. Now, if you found this video helpful, if it gave you some relief or changed your perspective, do me a favor. Hit that like button right now. It helps this information reach more men who desperately need to hear it. Drop a comment below and tell me, did this video change how you think about this topic? What was the biggest insight for you? I read every single comment, and I love hearing how this information impacts you. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on because I share this kind of honest, science-based content every single week. Real information that actually helps, not clickbait or myths. And share this video with any man you know who might be dealing with insecurity about this topic. Your brother, your friends, your sons. This information could literally change someone's entire relationship with intimacy and confidence. Remember, gentlemen, you are enough. The science says so. Thousands of women say so. Now it's time for you to believe it too. This is Dr. Rena reminding you that great intimacy comes from skill, connection, and confidence, not from measurements. Focus on what matters. Forget the rest. I'll see you in the next video.